materialistic world where you have so many selfish approach in our life, in the routine of life, the own brothers, many a times, they fall in the love for each other and they fail in the love for each other. So all these things, keeping in mind, what we need to understand with this subject is the love for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not my choice but an obligation on me. I have no other goal except that I have to love him. And how much do I love him is an introspection that I need to do every now and then in the daily scheme of my life. But before we discuss or try to introspect how much do I love him, we need to understand the standards to love him. I cannot equate the love of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with my parents. I cannot equate his love with my family, with my wife or with my children or with anyone who is dearest to me in this life. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, from Sahih al-Bukhari volume number 1 hadith number 50, he came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu that none can be a believer unless they love me more than everyone in the world. And that does not mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also second, but there is no comparison between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I mean, the most ignorant Muslim will never say that Allah and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam are equal, na'uz billah. So Allah will always remain the creator of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the remaining is his creation. Amongst the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the maximum love is for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Umar ibn Khattab, and Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said in reply, Ya Rasulullah, I love you after my parents and myself. The Prophet said, Oh Umar, your iman is incomplete. Your faith in Islam, your faith in Allah, your faith in me is incomplete. Then Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, after a little while, he says, Ya Rasulullah, now I love you more than my family, but after me. The Prophet said, Ya Umar, still your iman is incomplete. Your iman is still not complete because you do not love me more than yourself. And then after a while, Umar radiallahu ta'ala said, Ya Rasulullah, now I can attest to you that verily I love you the most after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet said, now your iman is complete, mashallah. Now keeping this in mind, let us try to take a few examples from the life of the Sahaba Akram radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, because they were the best to demonstrate anything related to the teachings of Islam. There are many reasons why they are the best. The first and foremost reason being they lived in the age when the Quran was being revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The second reason being they were so fortunate that for them their teacher and their master was none other than the best of the mankind, that is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. The third reason being everything they did was monitored by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and instantly corrected if there was a fault in it. So the Quran itself testifies to the Muslims till Qiyamah. In Surah Baqarah, Surah number 2, ayat number 137, Allah says, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا وَإِنْ تَوَلَّوْا إِنَّمَا هُمْ فِي شِقَاقٍ. Allah says, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ. If all of these people believe like all of you believe, and we all know when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was receiving the revelation of the Quran, even when this ayat was revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the other people to believe with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam were none other than the companions, the male and female companions, the Sahaba and the Sahabiyat. Now Allah is setting a standard. Allah says, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ. If all of them believe like all of you believe, فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. You see, we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day several times through Surah Fatiha in our salah, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Oh Allah, give me the hidayat of Sirat al-Mustaqim. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala testifies that follow the Sahaba, فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. Then surely you will be on hidayat. In Arabic, when fa is used before any verb, the Arabic speaking scholars will explain to us that fa means it's like something ultimately spoken with an absolute condition in it. Absolutely you will be guided. فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. There is no doubt about it that you will not be guided if you follow the way the Sahaba followed Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or Islam. Now, فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. And Allah wants us something very serious in it. وَإِنْ تَوَلَّوْا. But if you turn back, tawalla in Arabic means to repel, totally to turn, take a U-turn from something. But if you turn back, إِنَّمَا هُمْ فِي شِقَاقٍ, for a surety, you will divide into different firqas and groups. Shiqaq means breaking up into different groups and sects. So, in other words, the reason of the Muslim Ummah today divided into so many groups is we are not following Islam like Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajmain. And Allah's warning is, if you don't do that, for a surety you will divide yourselves. And the Arabic language, the word Iman, it includes your affection, your love, and your complete submission for something that is being told to you by the one whom you take to be an article of faith in your life. And for us, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is an article of faith. Without him, I cannot be a Muslim. Without believing in him, without accepting whatever he said, without a comma or a semicolon, but only with a full stop. If Prophet said something, there is no more argument and discussion after that. If it is proven from an authentic source, this is what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. The duty of every Muslim is samena wa atana. We hear and we obey. There is nothing like, but you see, no but, no if. That is the duty of every Muslim. So now, when it comes to the love of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how did the Sahaba display that love about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? With a few examples, I would conclude my talk, so that we introspect ourselves and we try to put into practice in our lives the way the Sahaba actually loved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, irrespective whether they lived in America or Saudi Arabia. So there cannot be an excuse that today I live in a world where this is very difficult for me. It may be difficult for you, so the Jannah will become difficult for you. Your condition to enter Jannah, the criteria, the scale of entering Jannah is not you living in America or Makkatul Mukarramah. Your entering Jannah is based on your total submission to Allah in the footsteps of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You fail there, you fail to enter Jannah in the Qiyamah. So with a broad mind, with an open mind, and with a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever we hear, let the speaker and the listeners immediately bring into practice in their lives the love of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the Sahaba loved and showed respect towards Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was once giving a Jummah khutbah, and the initial days of Masjid Nabawi, when it was constructed, the walls of Masjid Nabawi were not absolutely the walls that we see today. And this is a credit that shall be given to Shah Fahad of Saudi Arabia. One of the biggest things, or one of the best things he has done in his life, is construction of Masjid Nabawi on an area that was complete Medina city of the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The entire Masjid Nabawi that we see today was the city of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's Medina, mashallah. So it was his dream project that I am going to construct a masjid, that is Masjid Nabawi, so large that it shall completely cover the area on which the town of Medina was there at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But otherwise, the Masjid Nabawi was a very small masjid in the initial days, and the walls were very small, about 2.5 to 3 feet. And there were times when even the dogs could jump over the wall and come in the masjid, and the Sahaba would chase away the dogs outside. So in the initial days, the Prophet ﷺ was giving Jummah khutbah from the mimbar, and he saw certain people, even today we see in our masajid, and this should be disciplined for us also. The Prophet ﷺ forbid that when you go for Friday Salah, you shall not rest with your back towards any wall or any other thing, taking a resting position. The Prophet said you shall not have any resting position with you, and you shall strive hard to come closer to the Imam or the Mimbar. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he started the khutbah, he saw certain Sahaba who were at the back of the masjid, a little far away, and they were resting, and some of them were standing. So the Prophet ﷺ immediately commanded, sit down, ijlis. And suddenly the Sahaba who were standing, they sat down, and amongst them was Abdullah ibn Masud radiallahu ta'ala. Now Abdullah ibn Masud radiallahu ta'ala, he was about to enter the masjid, and where the Sahaba would remove their footwear, at that place he immediately sat down. The Prophet ﷺ from the mimbar, he says, Ya Abdullah ibn Masud, why are you sitting there? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I heard your command, ijlis, and I did not even want to make a delay of blinking of an eye to obey your command. Now this is how the Sahaba displayed the love for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When they said, Ya Rasulullah, we believe in you as our messenger, they made sure that they display their love and respect of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the outside world, to show that what does loving Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mean. What does it mean to obey Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? They did not even give a chance of even a blinking of an eye. And he says, Ya Rasulullah, I saw you do your command, I heard, I immediately said. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ya Abdullah ibn Masud, it was not for you. It was for the few people sitting there. Come inside now. And then he came inside, mashallah. So in this scenario, today we do not have our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam living amongst us. But the commands of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam still are with us. The Quran of Allah Rabbul Alameen is still with us. And it will remain forever. The Quran and the Hadith will never change. Our generations may change. But that is going to be intact till Qiyamah. And daily when we recite the Quran, or in Ramadan when we recite the Quran, don't we fear Allah that we are reciting the book of Allah without a purpose of reciting it. It is not a tantric book. It is not a book in which a child in the school is taught an English textbook for reading the text. By reading the textbook, it is a purpose to make you read the book. It is a book of guidance for all of us. We all hear this through our khutbahs and everything, but that change is not coming in us because we always feel, well, I am not the one who can change myself and change the world outside. No, you have to change, whether the world changes or not, irrespective whether other people change or not. If you heard something from Quran and Hadith, tomorrow you will face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all alone, without any supporters standing with you there. You will have an argument with Allah on this issue, that you heard it and what did you do after that. So our condition should be like the Sahaba Akram radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajmain, where they displayed their love and affection to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a manner that even today when we hear, we feel like loving Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the way Sahaba loved, and we want to bring that change in our life, but very often we fail doing that. Similarly, there is an incident where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went to Makkah after conquering of Makkah, and we all know the entire incident. I would not like to quote the entire incident, but the main part of that incident. When Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam conquered Makkah and he was sitting near the Kaaba, from the Sirat we come to know he was sitting at the same place where he used to recite the Quran, and the pagans of Makkah would torture him and trouble him. At the same place of his he was sitting, and the same people of Makkah who used to trouble were standing in a line to give Shahada of Islam to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And while taking the Shahada, while making the pagans of Makkah read the Kalima Shahada, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was looking here and there as if he was looking for somebody. And a Sahabi comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, Ya Rasulullah, are you searching for somebody? And the Prophet says, where is my Abu Bakr? I do not find Abu Bakr anywhere here. And then the Sahaba start searching because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has asked for Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala. After a while, suddenly they see Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala carrying an old man on his back and rushing towards Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sahaba say, Ya Rasulullah, Abu Bakr Siddiq is coming from there. The Prophet looks at Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala. He gets up from his place and walks towards Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala. He is coming, in fact, towards Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala, when he meets, he says, Ya Rasulullah, I have brought this old man, my father, with me. MashaAllah, he wants to read the Shahada now. Allah's Messenger says, Ya Abu Bakr, you should have called me. Why did you get this old man till here? He must be suffering from sickness. And Abu Bakr Siddiq says, Ya Rasulullah, my parents be sacrificed over you. How can I ask you to come there? I have brought my father for you. And Prophet ﷺ gives the Shahada. After a while, suddenly Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba realized that somebody is crying like a small child. And they looked here and there and they found Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala crying. The Prophet ﷺ was very worried. Why is Abu Bakr crying? It's such a happy moment. So the Prophet ﷺ reaches Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu and says, Ya Abu Bakr, is everything okay with you? He says, of course, Ya Rasulullah, everything is okay with me. The Prophet ﷺ says, why are you crying? What happened to you? Are you not happy? Allah has given Makkah to us today. The same people are standing in front of us to give the Shahada. You're not happy today? He says, Ya Rasulullah, my parents be sacrificed over you. I am one of the happiest people today. Of course I'm very happy. Are you not happy that your father embraced Islam? He says, Ya Rasulullah, verily, I am very happy that my father embraced Islam today. Then what is making you cry? And the Prophet ﷺ receives a reply from Abu Bakr Siddiq who says, Ya Rasulullah, these people, they are reading Kalima and you are so happy. My father read Kalima and you are so happy. How happy would you have been had Abu Talib read the Kalima? I am just thinking of that happiness of yours matters the most to me. Now what does that show to us? That the Sahaba were not just obeying Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were so concerned about his happiness that even the best thing that happened to their life didn't mean anything to them compared to what makes Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam happy. They were more worried about the happiness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The father has accepted Islam, and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu was a person who was so desperate to make his father a Muslim. And the moment when that happened, you are desperate for something, you suddenly achieve it. And then still you find that Muhammad Sallallahu is finding Abu Bakr not to be very happy. And his concern is that Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala is not happy. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala, when he became the caliph, and Alhamdulillah, when Rome and Persia, they came under the Muslim rule. We all know that Baitul Mal, the wealth from Rome and Persia, came to Medina. And Umar ibn Khattab was distributing. How much wealth came to the extent that Juwayriya radiallahu ta'ala anha, our Ummul Mu'minin, the wife of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the mother of the believers, she was found to be distributing zakat to the Jewish community. We all know her background, that she came from a Jewish community. And somebody went on to complain to Umar ibn Khattab saying that Ummul Mu'minin Juwayriya radiallahu ta'ala anha is distributing zakat to the Jews, because zakat cannot be distributed except to the Muslims. You cannot give the money of zakat to anybody in charity except the Muslims. What you give to non-Muslims can be different kinds of charities, but this zakat, which is obligatory, is meant only for the Muslim community. So now when this was told to Umar ibn Khattab, Umar rushed to her house. He says, Ya Ummul Mu'minin, what are you doing? Are you distributing to the Jews? And she says, Oh Umar, you are the reason for this. He says, Allahu Akbar, may the curse be on Umar. How did I become the reason? And Ummul Mu'minin, she replies, Ya Umar, the Muslims are so well to do today, not a single Muslim to receive zakat in the city of Medina. Now, this was the time that Alhamdulillah Allah gave to the Sahaba, and this was the promise that Allah fulfilled from the Quran. Today, every Muslim in the world today has a question. See, when I sat down, a brother asked, what is the condition in Hyderabad? When I come here, I meet the brothers here and I ask you people, what is the condition in America? Meaning every corner of the world, the Muslim is worried. They are suffering at every place in the world. There is a concern everywhere in the world. What next? What tomorrow is going to come for us? Now in this situation, Allah promised something, Allah says in Surah Nur, Surah number 24, ayat number 55. One condition Allah has kept. And that's such a simple condition. Trust me, such a simple condition you can't imagine. It's a promise of Allah. Can Allah fail in His promise? Wallah, the whole world can fail in the promise, but not Allah Rabbul Alameen. And what is the condition Allah kept? Allah says, if you people become muwahid, if you establish on my tawheed, I will give you the rule of the world like I gave the people before you. Simple condition Allah has put. What does that mean? That means for us, we need to understand that our tawheed is incomplete today. Allah says, if you become muwahid, tawheed, if there in your concepts of life, I will make you the rulers of the earth. It's a promise of Allah. And this happened when the Sahaba were there, mashallah. The same Sahaba who were forced to migrate away from Medina to Makkah, now they have become so powerful that 2,000, 3,000 years, two big empires were standing on one side and the other side of the Arabian Peninsula, the Roman and the Persian Empire, and they crushed them. And this itself is a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today when we go to the schools, in the schools, American War of Independence, Indian War of Independence, and 100 other things are taught to us. But they are so dishonest. These people who talk about their truth and honesty are so dishonest that they never speak about the Roman and Persian Empire falling to a people who never had an experience of a war outside, who were no match to these empires. How did that happen? And that it's just like imagining Nepal attacking China and America at one single time, and Nepal defeating China and America today. People will laugh if they hear this, but this happened in history. Nobody is talking about that. What was the power behind them? That power was the power of Tawheed and their obedience to Allah and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, once when everybody were living in a good condition in Medina or the Islamic Caliphate, at that time Umar radiallahu anhu decides to give stipend to youngsters. So he calls the youngsters in Medina and he says that I have decided to give stipend. All the youngsters, the young men and young girls, they gather and he starts giving stipend to each one of them, 500 dirham or 1000 dirham, whatever he decided. Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala was one of them who received it. And once the youngsters were taking that stipend after coming out, they were discussing with each other, how much did you get, how much did you get? And everybody, 500 dirham, 500. Abdullah ibn Umar, how much? 500. Another Sahabi comes out, young Sahabi. How much did you get? 1000. Double our amount? how come? Why did Umar give him double? This is not fair. This is not justice. And we all know Umar to be a very just person, Radiallahu ta'ala anhu. They go to Abdullah ibn Umar and they instigate him to ask the question. They tell him, what is this? Your father is such a fair man. What is this? He has done partiality. He gave you 500, gave all of us 500 and 1,000 to this person. So Abdullah ibn Umar says, okay, I'll just find out what's the matter. He goes inside the camp and he says, Ya Abui, O my father, do you love me? And Umar Radiallahu ta'ala says, Ya Abdullah ibn Umar, Wallah, I swear by Allah, of all the sons Allah gave me the 4 sons, you are the one whom I love the most because you used to stay the maximum with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he says, Ya Abui, O my father, if that be true, you gave me 500, you gave everybody 500, why 1,000 to him? Why did that Sahabi receive 1,000 and we received 500? And now look at the response of Umar Radiallahu ta'ala. He says, Wallah, I swear by Allah, Ya Abdullah ibn Umar, you are my love, but the one who received 1,000 was the love of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and my love can never be equal to the love of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They displayed their love in everything they were doing. They used to practically implement the love of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ahead of everything in this life. And we have utterly failed to do this in our lives. For us, our family comes first. For us, our parents come first. For us, our children come first. For us, our earning comes first. For us, our job comes first. For us, our luxury and comforts come first. Where is Islam then? Where is Islam then? We don't have time for anything. But for every rubbish, we have all the time today. For every other thing on earth, we have time. We just don't have time for Islam. Why and when are we going to correct the situation for ourselves? I would like to conclude this talk with an incident narrated in Sahih Bukhari. It's a very long hadith. I would like to pick up a portion that is relevant to the subject of my talk. And as a reminder to all of us, with this I would like to conclude my talk with the recitation and the translation of the ayah with which I started. It's in Sahih Bukhari, volume number 3. Once the Prophet ﷺ, very late at night, around tahajjud time, late tahajjud time, that is the 2/3 of the night, suddenly he woke up from his house, came out of the house, and he was taking a walk in front of the house. Those who had been to mashallah, Umrah or Hajj inshallah, or mashallah who has already gone, they know that particular situation where you have the present grave of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and you have the Riyazul Jannah where the people make salah and there is a mimbar there. So it's a very small area from here till not even far as that wall there. So the Prophet ﷺ outside, he was taking a walk at that time. Suddenly he saw Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala coming from the other direction. And Abu Bakr Siddiq says, Ya Rasulullah, what are you doing at this time? So Rasulullah ﷺ gives a smile and says, Ya Abu Bakr, why are you here at this time? He says, Ya Rasulullah, what brought you out of the house? The same thing brought me out of the house. And suddenly they saw Umar ibn Khattab walking towards him. And Rasulullah ﷺ says, Ya Abu Bakr, ask Umar, why is he coming? So they asked, and he says, Ya Rasulullah, what brought both of you out of your home brought me out of the house? The Prophet ﷺ says, okay, come with me. He takes both of them to the house of Musa al-Ashri radiallahu ta'ala. He was an elder Sahabi and he is very highly respected in the Muslim community because a lot of time the Prophet ﷺ had any family problems, he would go to Musa al-Ashri radiallahu take personal advices from him. So he was highly respected. So the Prophet ﷺ takes both Abu Bakr Siddiq and Umar radiallahu to the house of Musa al-Ashri radiallahu, and he knocks the door. Musa al-Ashri opens the door and he's surprised. He says, Ya Rasulullah, my parents be sacrificed over you. Why did you come? You should have called me. Is there anything urgent? The Prophet gave a smile and he said, no, we were just awake and we thought, must be you or you're also awake. So we came to your house to give a visit. He understood. He goes back in his house, wakes up his wife. He says, immediately sacrifice a lamb and cook some good food. Abu Bakr, Umar and Muhammad ﷺ has come to our house as our guests. And the food was cooked for Muhammad ﷺ and both Abu Bakr and Umar. When the food was served, the Prophet asks Abu Bakr, Umar and Musa al-Ashri, who among 3 of you can take these 2 loaves of bread and some meat and give it to my Aisha, for she is also hungry for the last 3 days. I am talking of the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And these are the people who are the best in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And today, if Allah is giving everything to us, we are thinking Allah is very happy with us. Allah was very happy with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there is none with whom Allah can be more happy than Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he is put to the test of this life in a manner that he doesn't have food in his house. Why? He was one of the richest man in Arabia. His wife was the business tycoon of the time, Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. Where did that money go? Where did he spend that money? Everything for Allah's cause. How did Abu Bakr Siddiq lose all the money? Imagine Bill Gates for here, but we come from Indian background, Mukesh Ambani. Mukesh Ambani declares tomorrow, everything that is here in India, I have left it and I am migrating to Pakistan. He will say, what has happened to Mukesh Ambani? How can he do this? He is a billionaire. How can he do this? But wallah, this is what Abu Bakr Siddiq did. This is the reason he is so highly revered in Islam. He was the richest in Makkah. He left everything. He said, Ya Rasulullah, nothing is important to me than Allah and His Messenger. Nothing is important to me. If Allah gave me now, Allah will give me again. But if I miss you and Allah, I cannot get back Allah and His Messenger again. This sacrifice that they gave was the most important of the time. And the Prophet ﷺ is saying, can anybody go and give this? Can you imagine the house of Muhammad ﷺ and the way we are living our lives today? We throw our food when it's waste. And there the Prophet is not having food in his house to eat. And he says, my wife is hungry with me for 3 days. One of them goes, gives it to Aisha and rushes back. When they come back, the Prophet ﷺ has all the dinner and everything, and he gives a big dua to Musa and he starts returning towards his home. Now this part is very important, which I actually wanted to bring in the minds of all of us. The Prophet ﷺ, while returning, he holds the hand of Abu Bakr Siddiq and Umar and stops. He says, Ya Abu Bakr, Ya Umar, in what condition did we come out of our homes? And they say, Ya Rasulullah, we were so hungry that because of hunger we would have fainted. The Prophet says, Ya Abu Bakr, Ya Umar, in what condition are we returning to our homes? They say, Ya Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us to eat to our fill. We are filled now. Alhamdulillah. You know what did the Prophet say after that? He said, I swear by Allah in whose hands is my life, is the life of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I swear by Allah in whose hands is my life. Ya Abu Bakr, Ya Umar, on day of judgment, Allah, if He wants, will ask you, the food that I gave you to eat and the energy that you got from that food, how much did you use that energy to promote my religion, Islam? Now with this, I would like to recite the ayat from Imran, surah number 3, ayat number 31. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. Say to them, if you truly love Allah, obey me, Allah will love you. With this, I would like to conclude the talk. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله.